presentation. I don't like to be the next person. Present right after an energetic presenter. It's going to be very difficult for me to catch up with you. Okay. My name is, let me just show it to you. My name is In Sung Jung from International Christian University Tokyo. I came here from Korea in 2003. So I have a little bit of competency in hearing, understanding Japanese, but then speaking will be a problem. Okay. Just one brief introduction of our school. It's a liberal arts, very small college compared to Kumamoto University. It's only 3,000 students, including 100. I think we have 150, around 150 graduate students across all disciplines. So it's a pretty small graduate program we have. And we have 150 full-time faculty members. It is accredited by Ministry of Education in Japan, like Kumamoto University. When Kumamoto University is first established, it was accredited. Quality was assured by the Ministry of Education, right? And then we also have accreditation from the United States. United States, there are many various accreditation agencies. In Japan, it's the Ministry of Education to give the initial accreditation, but in American system, it's a little bit different. So we got that accreditation, and then we don't have any totally online courses. We're trying to participate in OER movements, but it's going very slowly. And we have blended learning using Moodle. So most of the professors are now using Moodle. And that's about our campus. Anyway, our campus, we have a very beautiful campus. Okay, my work on quality assurance began in 2001 when I was the director of e-learning center at the Ewha Women's University in Korea. I was very much interested in the quality assurance criteria for online programs that we are developing. I wasn't sure, as a group, we weren't sure whether we are developing a good one or not, and whether this is a good service or not. We kept adding new services, and then we felt like, oh, it's too much. Are we producing a high quality program when we add more services to our program? So that was the beginning of my interest on the quality issues. Okay, and then 2003, 2004, 2005, I did some case studies and then surveys for UNESCO, because UNESCO was interested in what's happening in distance education and e-learning around Asia Pacific region. So I did some surveys, and then there was a follow-up survey in 2007, which was the year that I was here. I did some follow-up survey. And then quality, many of the quality assurance related articles are talking about quality assurance from provider's point of view. We need to provide this kind of quality programs, but there are only few studies have interested in learner's perspective. What learners think about quality? So I did that survey in 2009, and then some other research I have done recently. So these are the books that I either co-authored or edited recently. This one is Quality Assurance Application in Distance Education and E-Learning. And then this one is focusing on Asian cases, a collection of Asian best or innovative approaches to quality assurance across different countries in Asia. Kumamoto University is in here, right? You are one of the, Professor Suzuki is one of the contributors of the chapter. So you will find, I should have brought this book. If you send me an email, I will mail, send this book to you. I didn't bring, sorry. Okay, so this is the book I have. And then another book that I published was Distance Education and Blended Learning in Asia. So my focus has been on quality issues, especially in Asia Pacific region. So today I'm going to talk about, first I'd like to ask you a question. What is your idea of quality in education? 日本語でも大丈夫です。わかりますから。So, anyone? Yes?
I think it's a successful solution or rather to transfer knowledge from lecture to in distance way or using technology.
Okay, successful transfer of knowledge from teacher to student. Okay? Any other thoughts? Any other opinions? What is quality? Let me ask an easy one. When you bought some clothes, sometimes you're very satisfied because quality is high. What's the quality? What is the high quality clothes to you? May I invite Professor Bong?
My brain is dead.
It's an easy question.
I think clothes that we wear is that we all want high quality. You see in Tokyo and Osaka and Kyoto, Nagano, Kumamoto, all the people are fashionable. So quality is, they look at clothing, they look at hotels, quality, they look at food, it's quality, they look at cars, quality. So we're looking for color, contrast, brightness. I'm way off, aren't I?
Okay. So you hear his notion of quality, right? It's colorful. Is it related to color?
Color.
No, it could be color. Yeah, yeah. His clothes are very colorful. Okay. Anything else? Junko?
Design.
Yeah. What's the high quality clothes to you? What is it? What's the essence of high quality clothes?
That's satisfaction.
Satisfaction. It gives you a satisfaction,
Yeah.
right? Very good. Anyone else? Yes?
So better than your paying money.
Okay.
Cheaper
So
than
you got a good quality one, but it's cheaper, right? You pay a lot and you expect higher quality, but sometimes you don't get that high quality, so it's not. So it's a comparison with money, how much you pay, and how much you get, right? Okay. So there are various kinds of different perspectives when you look at the quality, especially education. Because education, everybody has something to say. Everybody has some ideas. Quality is also very relative concept. Everybody has different ideas. So that's why quality issues are not easy to solve. That's why over the years, past 100, 200 years, we have been talking about quality. Right? It's a very exciting topic actually. Okay, let's move on to 6 different kinds of notions that I come up, I was able to categorize. First one is quality is really very high, exceeding very high standards, excellent in input and output. Like Harvard University, for example. Everybody say, oh, Harvard University is high quality, they provide high quality education. Excel in input, a lot of money, investment will go into the system, and then they produce high quality graduate students. So that's the concept. Another concept is if you meet the standard, for example, government, Korean government or Japanese government have the standard. If you meet the standard, then you have the satisfactory the quality. You are providing a quality education. So it's a little bit, maybe a little bit less than the first one. And Third one will be they look at the process. If the process is consistent, and we try to make sure that we do the work during the process. Step 1, we do this. Step 2, we do this. Then we will have a quality outcome. So that's the notion of quality, focusing on process. Another one is quality as fitness for purpose. For example, community colleges have different functions or different purposes in the society. Their quality, when we talk about their quality of education and we talk about research universities' quality of education, we will have different opinions, right? So depending on the purpose of or mission or vision of the institution, we will have different concept of quality. Another one is value for money. This has become very important these days because we don't have much money as a society and maybe as an individual. So the quality. I was expecting this. Okay, thank you. All right, so high quality means you got the quality product at lower price. I like that. Okay, and then the last one is quality as transformation. This is focusing on qualitative change which people cannot see that clearly. It's not, sometimes you cannot see this. But then we pay attention to student empowerment, learners empowered because of our program, or participating in decision making. They become more active decision maker. And then they control over their learning process. So, in fact, some of the universities' online programs are paying attention to this notion of quality. They transform, they change, make changes in learners' life. Okay, so this is the important part of the quality issue. Okay, let me move on to quality assurance. Quality and quality assurance are a little bit different. Quality assurance is you want to make sure that you have the high quality. It's a process. Okay, planned and systematic review process of an institution or program to determine that acceptable standards of education are being maintained. This is done in Japan by 3 different accreditation agencies. Right? There are 3. One is JUAD, focusing on private universities. So ICU is part of their program. And then Kumamoto is, I think, NIAD, right? National one. There is one national one. Another one is related to, I think, law. So Japanese government said you are approved to do the audit, academic audit of the program or the universities. So now from, I think since 2004, all the Japanese universities need to get an accreditation, not an accreditation, sorry. Quality assurance, have to go through the quality assurance process every 7 years. Every 7 years. A lot of work, right? Okay, so that's the concept of quality assurance. Okay. But then when we talk about the quality assurance, I told you about the notion of quality. Everybody has different ideas. It's very relative. It's value related, which means depending on your value, you will have different ideas, right? So quality assurance need to consider various contexts, various factors. It's not, you cannot just set up one quality assurance criteria and apply. It's not like that. So the many considerations have to be made. One is I'm now focusing on Asian culture, Asian context. Asia's e-learning development status. When e-learning was at the very early stage, we didn't have any quality assurance because we like to promote e-learning development. when you introduce quality assurance, usually it's not for the development, it's for the control, for maintaining. You want to have a less number of e-learning providers. So at the beginning, many of the Asian countries had a very loosened rules for e-learning institutions. Everybody can come in and offer e-learning programs. And now we are at the mass stage. We begin to talk about e-learning. So I think first we need to consider our e-learning development status and then Asian culture. Within Asia we have many different cultures, but then generally we have something unique, Asian culture. We need to consider this. And then future improvement. It's not to control e-learning or maintain the quality of present status, is to improve. So focus is to improve, not to control. So I like to talk about two approaches. One is an ecological approach, which is very similar to a systems view, considering different aspects when you create the quality assurance mechanism. Another one is I like to emphasize outcomes-based approach rather than input or process. So from now on, I will move on to ecological approach. Are you familiar with ecological approach? Ecology. It's from natural science, I think. And what's the expression in English? Butterfly effect. When there is a wind. Typhoon in Japan, it will affect all over the world. And radiation issues. Now every country, world is worrying about this situation. So that's kind of ecological perspective. Everything is all related. Human are related to the nature, and nature changes, human are affected. Like global warming effect. Same with quality. I think quality is very culture laden as well. It's about the people, about our environment. If you don't consider our environment and then just adopt somebody else, it's not going to work well. So ecological point of view is to consider your environment first. Okay, so let me move on to the next screen. This screen is explaining some of our context. What's happening around e-learning in this Asia Pacific region? The first one is quality assurance came from business. So we know that quality assurance first came from the business world, but now we begin to apply it in education. Okay. I think I will just show you the whole screen and explain. So it is not let me put it this way. In the Western world, the quality assurance came a little earlier than us, the system, mechanism. In 1980s, I think in higher education, it became very serious. There were systems, you have to get approval every some years. And so universities have to show the public that we are spending money wisely. And then we provide high quality programs so that they can fund it. But in Asia, when it comes to education, nobody was actually talking about quality assurance being evaluated by third parties, by outside people. We were happy when inside, right? The faculty members were kind of nobody actually evaluated faculty members' performance before. But now, since 2004 in Japan, and then maybe in other countries, in case of Korea, I think 2000, early 2000, this system has introduced. Everybody is watching the university is spending money well, and then they provide good quality programs. So quality assurance in the context of Asia is a new concept. People are social demand. There is a high social demand for accountability and productivity and efficiency in terms of higher education in general, especially in the area of online learning. There are many cyber universities are built in the Asian region, and they want to know whether they are providing a good quality program. We tend to believe face-to-face human touch is the best one. There is a culture in Asia that human face-to-face, kind of the conventional way of teaching is the best one. So quality assurance becomes more serious when it comes to online education. Okay. Another one is, okay. But at the same time, technology adoption in Asia is growing so fast. Even in the least developed countries like Nepal, Laos, ICT has been introduced, especially mobile learning. Mobile is everywhere, as Dr. Gok said. So, and then when we look at this 43% of world internet, it is growing. I think today I saw this, it is over 50%. It's growing so fast. The world's internet users, half of them are in Asia. So when we consider this, and then the development of e-learning ICT integration is at mass adoption stage. It's in several countries. I cannot say in all countries, but Japan is one of them, certainly. And Korea, Malaysia, and China is growing really fast. Taiwan, and Singapore, Hong Kong, many of the countries. Even less developed countries like Thailand. Thailand is one of the developed countries in Asia, but it's growing fast. Okay. Another one important context, important feature in our environment is the increased import and export in e-learning. We import and export. Many of the Asian students are actually taking courses from global providers, Australian universities, University of London, and maybe Indiana University Distance Education Program at IST. And many of the Asian students are taking those classes. And it's the movement, student movement, not physical movement, but movement within the virtual space is growing. Okay. So issue of quality is more important in Asian context than any other regions, especially related to the online programs. And then there is the issue of credit transfer and mutual recognition when it comes to online education. Okay. So I'd like to highlight that Asian context, we see e-learning development, ICT development, and there is a growing social demand for accountability, and then cross-border exchanges is growing. So these are the three main factors in the context of e-learning. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay. I think I will just move on to the next one. So the ecological perspectives have to consider those three different contexts, Asian context, and then apply it to e-learning environment. Okay. So here are the suggestions for quality assurance in the Asian context. One is to develop quality assurance system addressing different stakeholders' point of view. And then we need to develop quality policies, and another one is within social cultural environment. So I already talked about social cultural environment in Asia, and now considering those social cultural environments, there is a need to develop quality assurance policies, especially at the national and regional level, also in institutional level. And Japanese cases, I may have to ask you to correct me if I'm wrong. Japanese cases, there is guidelines for evaluating, assessing online education programs, but then basically higher education quality assurance guidelines will be applied in evaluating online programs. Am I correct? Okay. In case of Korea, they have a separate monitoring system. When you want to establish online programs which will issue the degree programs, you need to go through Ministry of Education's application process. But once it is established, you will be credited or assessed by another institution. Used to be CARIS, but they will move to another institution. They're thinking of moving into different one. Okay. So depending on the national context, there needs to be some kind of quality assurance policies considering stakeholders' point of view. Especially in online program, many of them are targeting adult learners. So how adult learners think about the quality? What do they want? It's not just a matter of want. It's a matter of their perception of quality. We want to know what they think. And then combined with sponsors, who sponsors, who give the money to develop the program. That's also important. Social demand is also important. Instructors' point of view is also important. So different stakeholders' views need to be integrated in the quality assurance policies. Okay, we will move on to the next one. So who are the stakeholders? Learners are very important. Providers, which means university instructors, faculty members, and staff members. And there will be a third group. Can I ask you, who will be the third group for Kumamoto University's online program? Who are the important stakeholders except learners and providers? Do you have the important people, the group, who support or who are related to your program? Are there any?
Iran Consortium Japan,
Okay.
the employers of our students,
Okay.
families.
Okay, yeah, that's very good. So families and then consortium companies, they pay your students tuition and fees. So their views need to be heard. It's very important to integrate their views as well. Okay, another part is quality policies. When we have policies, I'm sure the online program here will have some kind of policies. The policies usually include how you're going to do it, the procedures. The first step and second step, you have the quality assurance procedures, right? And then you have quality assurance method. How are you going to do it? This will be one of the methods. You like to assure the quality by inviting some external experts to talk about the current issues in the quality assurance or current trends in MOOCs and other issues. So training is one of the methods, very, very effective method, one of the most popular methods. But there are some other methods as well, like benchmarking. You go someplace else, study trips. And there are many different ways of quality assurance. Another one is you have a set of criteria for yourself. You know, the course, you need to have this, and this component, at least 24-hour service, we have this. So criteria is also important. So when we talk about the quality policies, we discuss all these three different related issues. Okay, let's move on to the social cultural environment. I think I already told you about this, but we have to see the social conditions. Some countries or some institutions do not have competencies, so they need to build the capacity first, whereas others have very high level competencies in e-learning. So you first need to think about social conditions and then cultural values. You know, quality is value related. So depending on what your values are related to the online program, you will have different criteria. For example, in some universities, they don't care whether students are empowered or not. They don't have any, they don't give any points for that. Right? Whereas some universities, they care how students have changed. So that's important to clarify your values and then develop quality assurance criteria. Another one is global context. Dr. Bonk showed us what's going on around the world. So that kind of changes will be very important to improve your quality of the program. Okay? So, okay. Here I talk about the quality assurance at course level, institutional level, national and global level. I'm sure that Kumamoto University have course level quality assurance ones and institutional and national ones. Okay. Any questions so far? Yes?
Is there any specific criteria for example for QA criteria?
Yes, yes, there are many. In fact, I should introduce some of the examples. One example, very famous example at the course level will be quality matters in United States. United States have different ones. And then another example at the institutional level. Institutional level, you can find it as Commonwealth of Learning. Commonwealth of Learning has an extensive quality assurance handbook that you can find on the web. At the national level, in India has specific quality assurance guidelines for distance education program in general, including online learning. And UK, Higher Education Council, they have guidelines for distance education, including online learning. So there are several examples. Okay, thank you for the question.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so this is the actually combination of what I have just said. It integrates all different kinds of variables, like quality policies, and learners need to be considered, the third group of providers. So this is kind of summary of what I have said. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next one. Do I have time? 15 minutes. 15. So I'm gonna go a little bit. So as I told you before, all important stakeholders. I'm not saying all stakeholders. I try to say all key stakeholders have to be considered, and then globally oriented but locally adaptive and culture creation. So I'd like to explain this part maybe within a few minutes. Okay. First one is all stakeholder oriented approach to quality assurance e-learning. This time, current QA system is focusing on e-learning providers' perspectives or government perspectives. Government usually control. So agencies or funding agencies, learners' perspectives, as I told you, often ignored. And I did some studies on different perspectives, and then I found this. Existing quality method is seeking providers' assessment perspectives. Learners' voice not heard. Learners' work not evaluated. So they tend to focus on institutional commitment, vision are important. But then I will compare this with learners' perspective. And so many of the e-learning providers, they focus on design and delivery. How to design online course, how to deliver online course. And management, finance, legal considerations are emphasized, like copyright. How are you gonna deal with the copyright issues? But those were not the main issues of students. Students have different agendas regarding quality. These are the examples. I was going to give you some of the examples. This is a European example. They have 33 benchmarks in 6 categories and detailed in each of these categories, like strategic management, curriculum design, course. These are the interests of providers. Providers are very much interested in this. And we have another example from Korea, a very similar interest. So many of these are provider-centered approach, which are considered unequal, ignores interrelational nature of quality assurance system in e-learning. Especially in e-learning, the quality, the outputs are co-produced. You interact with teachers. Even if teachers provide various services, if you don't respond, then it's very difficult to say it's a quality teaching and learning process. So it's co-produced. That nature has been ignored in many of the cases, and learners' motivation and engagement are very critical, but those aspects were often ignored in existing quality assurance system. Learners are more interested, my research survey found that learners are more interested in presence, didactics, and collaboration. I mean, especially presence. Somebody has to be there. I want teachers to be there. My friends are to be there. I like to collaborate, especially European learners. They say, oh, we want to talk with someone. But then China, it was a little different. Oh, we don't want to have well-known professors teaching our class, videos. So maybe books can be very well accepted by these learners. Korean case, they say, oh, we want to have personalized learner service. Not one service fits all kind of attitude, but give me some personalized care. That was one. So ecological approaches will consider these learners' different requests, concept of quality, and apply. I did a very interesting survey with Pakistan learners. Pakistan has a virtual university in Pakistan, and we did survey with the same kind of learner perspective survey. Guess what? The learners there, especially female learners, said safe environment, safe study center environment. They have a study center all over the place in Pakistan. Usually they meet at night, evening. They say it's not safe. So safety, was like sexual abuse or some kind of crime would happen around that area. I was quite shocked. So each country, each nation, each institution or region might have different needs for quality assurance. Another part is related to globally oriented. We need to have some kind of global standard or one general standard. Let me just one general model, but that's not going to work in a local context. So here I'm suggesting to consider social cultural diversity. Japanese online learners, we found one particular interesting fact. Many cases, Japanese learners want to have a fair assessment criteria. The fairness was very much emphasized. Of course, other online learners also in other countries they emphasize that, but it was particularly high among Japanese learners. So that kind of cultural or social diversities need to be reflected in quality assurance model. So general model is okay as a basis, but you may want to add some cultural, differences here. Okay, I think I will go a little fast. So that will be the globally oriented, locally adaptive part. So I think I will just show the slide and move on to the next one. Culture creation framework. This is kind of important. Maybe in some countries it's too soon to apply this one. This is not to emphasize control or management concept. When we talk about quality assurance, many of us will think about, it's managed by government, managed by other external agencies. But here, I'm arguing that we need to move from a top-down policy direction or accountability conformity to standards, already established standards, to let me see. Okay, maybe to move away from this current system. I will show you the next direction. Okay, so the current system brings faculty members' negative perceptions toward overall quality system. When faculty members and students do not like quality control, less trusted, less autonomous, not directly led to quality enhancing activities, such as teaching preparation. They talk about something else, not the essence of the online learning. So current system need to change to, here we go. To changing values and practices of teachers and learners, creating institutional quality culture. Instead of imposing standards from outside, you need to develop bottom-up policy directions. This is creating a culture within the institution so that, without thinking about quality standards or quality control or quality assurance, evaluation by the government, all your activities will be related to quality issues, quality assurance. Okay. That was more ecological and systems point of view to quality assurance. Now I will be talking about outcome-based quality assurance. This is more focusing on enhancement or improvement rather than to meeting the standard. It's going further. Okay? Many of the quality assurance are focusing on input. This is a traditional model. It's an input-based model. So how much money do you have? Funding. The ratios between students and teachers. How many teachers? How many students do you have? 1 to 50 or 1 to 100? And you are more. That's input variables. Another variable is, do you have buildings, equipment, ICT facilities, media, library, information service? How many books do you have? All input variables. But then outcome-based approach will be interested in defining, agreeing upon the desired outputs. What are the outputs? At the end, what are you going to have? So it's one of the approach will be competency-based. The learners, after they finish this program, they will have these kind of competencies. That's outputs. Or outcomes. Outcomes is more long-term. Maybe you cannot see the outcomes. It's a contribution to the society, for example, or you become a better person. Is another one. Impact is more global. I mean, more macro. It's more larger scale. So this approach will emphasize outcome first. The result, and then it will ask input variables. What input variables are required to accomplish those objectives? So this is a backward approach. So this is becoming a very important trend in other countries, in various countries. Okay. So I think that maybe I will summarize, I will conclude my talk by showing two pictures. One is quality assurance need to be seen as a cyclic process, not just, you finish this, you go to the next one, you go to not linear, it's all linked. You will see the vision, outcomes, impacts, and then you plan. And then you teach for learning, and then you assess the learning, and then you evaluate the outcomes, impacts, and inputs again, and then you go back to revising outputs, outcomes again. So it's a cyclic process, but it will begin with outcome analysis. What are the outcomes? That's the basis of outcome approach. That's one. And then this is another one that I like to show as a conclusion. So many of the studies done in this area have not seriously considered social cultural environment, especially Asian countries. Many of the Asian countries were have been adopting Western cultures. I mean, there is nothing wrong with that. We combine them together and we create our own culture. But we really have to ask us a question. What learning, there are some Asian ways of learning, I think. I strongly believe that Asians, the drill and practice, for example, is not considered as a good way of teaching, right? But then in some subjects, some areas, in Asian, the school system have been very successful in terms of PISA scores, right? The scores, the test scores. If the PISA test scores, we can trust their scores, then Asian countries have been pretty successful. I mean, Japan and some other countries, Singapore. And Singapore has a little bit different approach than Korea or Japan. Singapore emphasized do not want to decrease number of students in one class. They like to keep above, it used to be above 40, but now they may have 30. But they don't want to decrease number of students. Instead, they want to make the classroom larger. So, and then add one or two more teachers, which means they believe that large classroom is better than smaller classroom. Students learn how to work with others. So that I thought that was a very different approach. I think that kind of small Asian way of learning and teaching could be rediscovered, and integrated with other perspectives. That's why I like to highlight this part. In fact, I'm very much interested in cultural aspect in online learning, and my book will be coming soon. I think this year. The title will be Culture and Online Learning. And then another part is quality policies. Of course, learners are important. So these three aspects I like to highlight in considering quality assurance process in online learning. finish here. Any questions or comments? Then I will be here for the retreat tomorrow and then the day after tomorrow. So we will talk. Okay, thank you very much.